So I'm going to try and answer a lot of stuff I've seen about CAGED and stuff on Reddit. So, I played for about 25 years on the instrument. I learned under Jim Kelly at Southern Cross and Michael Porter and a whole bunch of players around me that I learned a lot from as well. The first thing I want to teach you that they taught me, CAGED is just a system. And like any system, like Windows, Mac, Linux, like any system you have, your perspective on it and how you perceive it and how you roll it out in your space, completely individual. So how I perceive it and how I use it, parts of it might line up with how you perceive it on the neck and all that sort of stuff. But there'll also be stuff that I do that you go, that's crap, Tim, or you go, oh, I'd never thought of it that way. So when you see all this stuff on Reddit about like, oh, this is what CAGED is meant to be, oh, there's this, there's that, that's people's perspectives. And the system has a few fundamental things that kind of stay true no matter what your perspective is. And then the rest of it is really up to you to fill in the blanks as to how you perceive it and how you use it. So I'm going to do everything in E major, and I'm tuned to regular standard tuning. I'm usually tuned down half a step, but I thought for this video, in case anyone wants to try and play what I'm playing, I'd go back to standard tuning. And so the key thing, the key fundamental thing that will never change no matter what your perspective is, the whole point of the system is that you have something to grab no matter what the chord is, no matter where you are on the neck. You have something you can play wherever you are on the neck, whatever the chord is. So if the chord is E major, you got E major here, you got E major here, you got E major here, here, and then you can keep going. You're back to the start and you go through them again. That's the whole point. That's the fundamental idea, is that no matter where you are, you have something to grab, no matter what the chord is. And that goes for rhythm playing. So if you're playing, I'm going to use Valerie and the blues. So I'm just going to go basic, but then I'll get a bit more. Two chords, E to F sharp minor. That's all that song is, and then you go into the bridge, which goes up to the 4 and down to the 3 and does all that shit. Right? So what I'm trying to show you there is that I went everywhere, and I could go everywhere for a long, long time in that song. I feel for the guitarist that gets up on stage and this is all they've got. I feel for the guitarist and I feel for the audience, because there's just so much more that guitarist could do if the context is calling for it. Like if it's a duo, that is going to work, right? And you wouldn't want to do much more than just that, because you don't want to lose the bass note. Right? But if you're in a band, you don't want to do that. You're in the way of the bass player, and if there's a keys player, you're playing 6 notes. Keys players can play 10 if they want to. So if they want to make you look like a fool and drown you out, they will, if they want to be vindictive. And so your best bet is to find the middle of the neck where the guitar sounds nice, between like the 5th and the 10th fret, and find things that work. And that's the whole point of the CAGED system. So no matter where I am, I can find something, no matter what the chord. So if we then go to the blues and you've got dominant 7 chords, right? You got everyone who plays. Like one of the fundamental things we learn about the blues is that E7 shape, right? Problem is some people's playing stops there and they miss out on so much cool stuff. because they don't explore the CAGED forms for those chords. So many people get stuck with CAGED is major and minor, and well, they don't even go past major. They just go, it's major. They don't think about, well, actually, you've got E minor, you've got C minor, you've got A minor, you've got G minor, you've got E minor, and you've got D minor. You've got all those shapes, right? And like C minor is a prick to play. You would never, ever in a million years play that shape. You would play this one. And you would never play this one. You would never play, like I can barely do that stretch comfortably. You would play that. But if you don't learn that shape of C minor there, you miss out on a really, really nice triad. It sounds like I'm just going to go back to E. That's that one. Right, so if I'm in E, if I'm in E minor, that's G on the D string, B on the G string, E on the B string. I miss out on something really, really beautiful. So pick a shape, pick a form. So let's say C form. Pick a chord, E7 flat 9. Find everything you can in that shape that is cool about E7 flat 9. So the chord shape, so that's E, it's basically a back to front half diminished chord. So it's E on the A string, G sharp on the D string, D on the G string, E, F on the B string. And so I'm missing the B. I'm missing the 5 because I don't have enough fingers. So whatever, if you have an extra finger, good for you. Then I'm going to find the arpeggio. And then I'm going to not only do that, I'm going to go, what are the intervals? Okay, so there's the flat 9, right? So I know I'm going to do the chord tones was one thing I missed. So chord tones 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5. So that I know if I want to play a flat 9, it's the flat 2. So it's right next to the 1. If I want to play a sharp 9, there's the 3, it's right next to the 3. You know, a sharp 5, a flat 5. Because I know where the 5 is, I know where the sharp and the flat must be. I know where the 6 is, so I know where the 13 is. If it's flat 13, then I know that that's dominant 9 flat 13. Bit of a weird sounding chord, but anyway, what I'm saying is because you use the CAGED form to go, this is 1 3 5 1 3 5. Now I can find 1 3 5 7. I can find 1 3 5 7. 1 3 5 flat 7, and then I can find 13, and you can find a whole bunch of other notes which I just play because I'm a fiddly man. Then you start to do some cool shit like I only want to play 3 notes, so there's my 3 note E7, here's my 3 note E9. Here's a 3 note E7 because I've got the 3 and the 7 and I can just do whatever the hell I want with the rest of it. 13, 7, normal 7, 9, 7, sharp 9, flat 9, sharp 11, which looks like a B flat 7, sharp 5. I can do a lot of the things I want to do because I've used the CAGED system as here's the form, here's where the chord tones sit with that shape. I know where the chord tones sit with that shape. So with A, it's 1 5 1 3 5, 1 5 1 3 5. So I know if I want to find a sharp 5, if I want to find a flat 5, or a sharp 4, if I want to find the dominant 7, major 7, if I want to find a 13, if I want to find flat 13, if I want to find a higher major 7, a higher dominant 7, because I've done that work, 1, and then with the G it's 1 3 5 1 3 5 1 you know. So there again, and then E4 is the same, and then D form's the one that trips people up. So it's like 3 5 1 5 1 3 because it's just like manic. But so you've got something to grab because you know that D shape, right? So you know that you can do that. Like even that little 3-note triad of the major, that's a D form. That's a first inversion triad. So that's technically a D form chord. Technically, if you want to get really into the weeds. But we see that as the D form, as a form of CAGED to be able to learn the scale. So one of the things that trips people up when they're learning the scales is where's the action? And so I've taken the perspective, remember what I said about perspectives, the perspective that in C form, all the action happens behind the little finger. I go 1 finger per fret, and all the action, as much as I possibly can, happens behind the little finger. In A form, the action happens in front. G form, action happens behind. E form, action happens in front. D form, you go, well, Tim, where's the action here? The little finger. The little finger's on the root note. So as much as you possibly can, you try and keep the action between the 2nd fret and the 5th fret for the E major scale. But you're gonna have to step out. So D form is the great teacher of, the reason why it matters is that the system is meant to be broken. That's why the D form for me exists. That's my perspective. Is if you've gone along that line of like C, everything happens behind. A, everything happens in front. G, everything happens behind. E, everything happens in front. D is here to tell you, I don't give a shit about whether you make the action happen in front or behind. Just make it happen. So because I've got all that stuff under my fingers and because I've practiced it and I've practiced different tonalities, so major, minor, augmented, dominant, diminished, in those different forms, you can grab things underneath your fingers really, really quickly. I'm just being a dickhead now. So yeah, remember, that's for me, from my perspective, it's about perspectives. From your perspective, what do you see? But the fundamental thing that CAGED is to teach you is to have something to grab, no matter what the chord is and no matter where you are on the neck. That's the whole point. So if you're just practicing the major scales and the major pentatonic, that's all you're going to be able to grab. So when someone throws you a dominant chord or an augmented chord, you're going to be like, augmented goes like this. You know, you're going to have one thing that you've learned. Whereas actually, if you learned the chord tones, 1 3 5 1 3 5, you can go, well, augmented is sharp 5. So all I do is go, or, ooh, and then you can start to find some cool things, right? And then like minor, you know, it's like minor major 7. You're like, oh, because I know where 1 3 5 1 flat 3 5 1. Major 7 must be there. Well, that's pretty. That's very pretty. And then, actually, damn. So that is like, looks like a B, but I've left the G string open and the E string open. So E, B, F sharp, G, D sharp, E. Ooh, so pretty. Damn. Then up here, because I know that the A form of a minor shape is 1 5 1 3 5. I now know that there's the major 7. With G, 1 3 5 1 3 5. Okay, root. Okay, so here becomes a bit trickier, but possible. That's minor major 9. Regardless, I can grab something anywhere I am on any chord, and that's the point of CAGED. You can restrict yourself. You can say, I'm going to do all the action behind, so that when I'm improvising and I'm just going to stick in C form, I can find everything. So let's go through a blues in E And all we're going to do is try our best to restrict ourselves to stick between the 4th fret and the 7th fret, playing all 3 chords. Right, and then do the same thing for A. Same with G, on and on we go. So that I have something to grab and then practice the rhythm through those. For anyone who's wondering what that second chord is, so B on the D string, D on the G string, G sharp on the B string, and then I've just moved those top 2 strings down a semitone. So now you've got B, C sharp, G, which is minor 6 if you're in E minor, but it's also a A9. So that's the 9, the 3rd, and the 7th. And then the B was just like a straight ahead part of that E form B. So that you've got something to grab no matter where you are, no matter what the chord. That's the whole point of CAGED. I hope that answers some of your questions and some of the things that you can practice in your CAGED, not just the major and minor pentatonics. Hopefully you're all going beyond just the major pentatonics and major scale. You want to practice the form shape, where the chord tones are, so the 1, 3, 5. You want to practice the major scale and the major pentatonic, and then you want to swap over to like the dominant scale and the dominant chord as well, because it's really closely related. Then you want to go to minor and go to minor and minor pentatonic in that form, and then you've got melodic minor, and then you've got stuff that's like diminished whole tone and blues whole tone. You've got so much other stuff you can do. You can do the arpeggio. So usually what I did when I started out was I did the chord, I called out the chord tones, and then I did the major scale, and then I did the minor scale, and then I did the Dorian scale, and then I did the dominant scale, because they're kind of the common ones that we use most of the time. I did the pentatonics, but you know, they're within the scale. I did the arpeggios for those, so major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, minor 6. So I did those arpeggios up and down the neck in every single form. And then I started to add melodic minor. So when I got a bit more advanced and I understood melodic minor, I started to add those things in. So minor major 7, minor major 9, diminished stuff, augmented stuff, all in the same space in the neck. So major, minor, diminished, augmented, major 7, major pentatonic, melodic minor, major minor 9. So you just start to kind of call those out and vocalize them as much as you can in your practice. So 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3, 5, and then go backwards. 5, 3, 1, 7, 5, 3, 1, 7, 5, 3, 1. Because the vocalizing actually helps with a mnemonic device. So that's my 20 minutes on CAGED. I'm up to about 20 minutes. Hope you found this helpful. Remember that key fundamental thing of it's just one perspective, and everyone's perspective on Reddit and everywhere else that you learn, it's their perspective, it's how they've held on to the knowledge. It doesn't mean that that's how you have to hold on to the knowledge. What you have to do is take those perspectives in and synthesize what works for you and what doesn't, and then move on. But the fundamental thing for CAGED that will never change in any of the perspectives is it's meant to be something to grab no matter where you are, no matter what the chord. Enjoy.